So hello everyone, this is Dr. Jamie Marich with the Institute for Creative Mindfulness, and I am very happy to be joined on this short video by two folks who I admire very, very much, Curt Widhalm and Katie Vernoy, who are both based out in the LA area. They are the co-founders of the Therapy Reimagined Conference, now in its fourth year or fifth year?
Fourth year.
Fourth year. Awesome. I have the honor and distinction to be one of the keynotes this year for the, as of now, hybrid event that has been scheduled. And I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit more about it on this interview. And Curt is also very dear to me. He is an ICM team member. He's a consultant in training with us, did his EMDR training with the Institute for Creative Mindfulness. So I always have a bit of proud mama energy around him to see what he's done with the Therapy Reimagined Conference. So for either one of you, tell me how the conference came to be.
We were sitting around probably about 5 years ago saying that there's a lot of things in our field that just are not reflective of A, the people in the field, and B, the people that our field is trying to reach. And we kind of set out with a few different ideas of getting better representation of therapists from all walks of life to actually be presenters. We looked around at some of those other conferences where it's a lot of the same old white guys talking about the same old things that they have year after year. And we wanted to go out and kind of challenge that as a status quo. And we feel that we did that really, really successfully. And building off of that energy over the last couple of years, we've really focused a lot on the therapist experience and being able to maintain ourselves in this profession, to be able to continue to show up for those clients that we end up seeing, and to better represent that therapists have an impact on therapy beyond just reading out of some manual that was developed in a lab someplace for somebody's PhD thesis and then spending the rest of their life defending that treatment. So really making therapy about a healing experience and really helping to push forward our field in a way that represents people.
Great. And how did you two connect professionally? I don't think I know that about you two.
So we met, I think, and I was going to say the context of Curt's story is also
yeah.
important, is that we were sitting probably in a couple of different places in the back of professional association trainings. And some of them were amazing, but many of them, the two of us would just look at each other and notice that both of us were doing something else. That we were sitting there to kind of do the checkbox of the continuing education that we needed to get. And I am so distractible, and I just kept getting bored with so much of the content that was being shared. And so I think we just started, noticing that the snark that both of us were experiencing was pretty similar. And then the story that we usually tell is that, I guess, with did people still pass out business cards? I guess we had passed out a business card. And Curt called me while he was stuck in LA traffic. And I actually picked up the phone, which most therapists don't do. And I was like, dude, why are you calling me? And he's like, I'm bored. I'm in LA traffic. And so then we just started having conversations about what we felt was missing in the current profession and currently in the profession and how we were operating. It seemed like there was a lot that we were seeing with professionals that were very judgmental and very in this corner of how things should be done. And so we talked about putting on a conference. Mm-hmm. And I think it started as a leadership conference, and then we recognized that it needed to kind of expand out. And maybe it's not a leadership like supervisor conference, right, but I think it is for people who are wanting and willing to take leadership over themselves as a business owner or as a clinician, as well as leadership over how they enter the profession. Because I think we aren't for the compliant. We are not for the folks that are just going to follow directions. We want the critical thinkers who are looking at what they're being told critically. And then we realized that if we were going to put on a conference, we needed a much bigger audience. And so the two of us decided, well, when we talk to each other, it is kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should do a podcast. And that's how the Modern Therapist Survival Guide podcast was born.
How marvelous. Well, I am down with a group of the non-compliant and yes! pro critical thinking. So For this year, and we'll talk a little bit more about the conference format as we wrap up and the dates and all the logistics. But in addition to myself as one of your keynotes speaking on redefined therapy, and that we also have a pre-conference scheduled where I'm doing the power of process dissociation training. I'm super stoked about the other keynote, Dr. Bandy X Lee. Tell me a little bit about your inspiration for inviting Dr. Lee.
Well, if there's anybody who represents the mental health field and is willing to speak out, Dr. Lee is really one of those people. And for anybody watching this who isn't familiar, Dr. Lee over the last several years has been a big proponent of people in our field being able to speak out for public good, especially in her views around Donald Trump and a lot of the dangers that from a very educated and very informed position of things that she sees. And she's no stranger to controversy. And having an opportunity to embrace the ideals that we have been pushing as far as being able to speak up and be able to take our education and our experience, not just for the individual clients that we end up seeing, but for the greater public good. She was somebody that when we reached out to her just kind of on this, like, hey, we've got this conference. Are you available? Can you come? And we were so ecstatic when she said yes.
Mm-hmm. I was ecstatic when I saw I'm going to get to hear her. That's just fantastic. So tell us a little bit about just an overview of maybe some of the other presentations that are on the docket.
We really do try to help a lot of our attendees and a lot of the people in our community understand where the impacts of the client experience, where the professional experience, where the personal experience of the therapist, and the ways that they run their businesses end up impacting treatment and health overall. So once again, we're bringing back some of our speakers who talk really much about the business experience and the ways that we can empower ourselves and take care of ourselves, not being afraid to have fees that are commensurate with the experience that we do and that help us to remain caring for ourselves, so that way we can continue to show up reliably for our clients and for the public good overall. Katie and I are also talking about the ways that tech companies, those people over at like BetterHelp and Talkspace, the ways that that's impacting our practices and the ways that we can continue to thrive and survive and adapt some of the things that they're using to better reach the overall public when it comes to mental health, but continuing to craft really good experiences in the more traditional way and not be so scared off by all of our clients running out to the next newest app.
Right. Yeah, I had a chance to drop in on a lot of the conference online last year because obviously you took it online last year, and I was just so impressed with the diversity of presenters. And I really admire your push to make sure the conference looks like the people we're serving, right? And not just the old white dudes who can dominate the discourse year after year after year. Yeah. So tell us, either one of you, a little bit about the nuts and the bolts. When is the conference? What's going on with the virtual experience? How do people find out more about it? Where do they register? All that good stuff.
So the conference as it stands today, and we continue to try to pay attention to the world, is going to be a hybrid conference. And what that looks like, and the dates are September, I got to look at my calendar over here, 23rd through the 25th. Thursday will be for the live audience, and we're going to do this exclusively for the in-person audience, will be a training with you for 6 hours that I'm ecstatic to see. I'm so excited about. But we'll also have for our virtual audience, as well as folks who want to visit it later, all of the business content from our trusted partners. We have folks who are talking about SEO and investing and having a side business and, creativity and, all these different pieces that are really exciting. And we're going to get those up on our website soon. And that's therapyreimaginedconference.com for folks who are like, I need to know right now. But then Thursday is you and the other sessions. And then we also have Friday and Saturday. We have both our in-person audience, which there'll be some networking opportunities and consultation and demos, as well as some folks who are actually live, and they'll get to be our studio audience for our live speakers. And then there also will be for the virtual audience a lot of breakouts and some of the content that Curt was talking about. And everyone who's at the conference will get access to all of the recorded content until the end of the year. And so
Nice.
for where CEs are available, you can circle back to it. Where you want to just revisit something that you saw, if you're having to make a choice, we do have a couple of sections that are breakout sessions. People can consume all of the content except your 6-hour training, whatever choice they make. But we have our psychosocial on Thursday night. And so for the in-person audience, we have this gorgeous ballroom upstairs that like you can see all of Los Angeles, and there's like cool lights. And for the virtual audience, we're putting together a really wonderful networking event so people can meet each other. And hopefully we're still sorting out the technology, but we're hoping that we're going to be able to have our in-person and our virtual audience really be able to connect. I know you were there last year. We have this cool app where people can chat. They've got these new rooms where people can kind of just pop off and go talk to other attendees virtually. There's a social wall. There is so much that we've just been able to create within a virtual space that all of the attendees and sponsors and speakers and everything will be able to participate in. I'm really excited because it's an opportunity to have this event that is 3 days, but it's also all of the lead up and connecting and bringing the audience together, and then also all of the ability to get the education that you need up until the end of 2021.
Fantastic. Well, I am super excited to be a part of it. And to any of my former students or current students or people who follow my work, if you're looking for just a really good CE opportunity, a good chance to connect, especially if you're still in that place where traveling isn't feasible for you or doesn't feel safe for you. I've been doing a lot in virtual world over this last year and a half, and let me tell you, they have a first class setup, and
Oh, thank you.
it's a fantastic time.
Awesome.
All right, well, I will, if everything cooperates, see both of you out in LA in September. And again, the website, to make sure we got it clearly, Therapy Reimagined Conference.
Yes.
.com, yeah.
.com.